pagination or pagination. And this way you can style the appropriate pages or the navigation links within the pages. So let's take a look at how this is done on the screen. All right, so if we take a look at the code here, what I've done is just set up a basic div right there. And inside of that, I have the anchor links or the anchor tags. And I also have one button that's also active, meaning that it's selected or you are on page number 2. So anyways, this is kind of what I have set up as a basic line. And you can see it here on the left or on the right over here with all the numbers. So let's go ahead and build these things out. So I'll go ahead and create my pagination code. What I'm going to do is just to show you border 1 pixel solid red. And so that way you can see right here, basically right now it's fully wide. You could leave it like this. I'll go ahead and change the display to inline block. So that way it's just kind of, on its own inline and I can move it around a little bit easier. Anyways, we'll go ahead and leave that for the time being just for usability's sake. And then what I need to do is go ahead and structure my anchor links. Okay, so I'll go ahead and create that rule. And for that, I'll go ahead and do text decoration none because I don't want any text decoration. I'll go ahead and change the color to maybe like a little gray color right there. I'll also probably want a padding of, let's give it 15 pixels. I'll go ahead and put a border 1 pixel solid blue for the time being, just to kind of take a look here. Okay, and we're zoomed in pretty heavy, so I'll zoom out just a little bit. Okay, so now we probably don't need that red there, so I'll go ahead and remove that. So you can see there's the border. I think probably 15 is too much. Let's go ahead and do 8 right here. So 8 looks pretty good, but 8 on top and bottom looks okay, but I probably want maybe 12. Let's do 10 pixels there and maybe 6 on the top and bottom. So there we go. We have wider numbers, maybe even 12 to the right and left. Okay, so there we go. That looks a lot nicer and better. So now what I also want to do is go ahead and potentially create like, let me go ahead and do this. We'll go body and background. I'll choose like let's say a gray or baby blue background because it'll give me a little bit of something to play with the colors. So I'll go ahead and make sure this is kind of like a bluish background. Okay. We can go ahead and also change this background of our anchor links to white. Okay, so you can see now they're white. We have kind of this border, which is okay. I don't like it. It's a little bit too strong. So I'll go ahead and change that to potentially this color right here. So you can see we're starting to look a little bit better. I also don't like that they're very cornered. So I'll do border radius of, let's say 5 pixels, and let's just see what that looks like. So let me zoom in a little bit so you can see. Okay, so that's starting to look a lot better. I also want maybe a little bit more of a rollover effect. Okay, so in order to create that rollover effect, I'll go ahead and kind of create or copy this rule right here. Make sure we're on the hover state. Okay, and then what I need to do here is go ahead and say, okay, well, what do I want? I want background color to change. What do I want it to change to? Let's say we'll change it to a darker tone, something like this. And probably text color, we will want white. Okay, so let's just take a look at what that looks like. So you can see as I roll over, looks pretty good. You know, the other thing is probably maybe a transition. So the fade transition, we'll do 1 second ease. Okay, so let's just see what that looks like. So you can see it's a little bit, it's nice. It gives it a little bit of a fade effect. I could do maybe 300 milliseconds instead to give it a little bit quicker. So you can see it's a little quicker effect right there. So that also looks good. So you can see it looks pretty good. But now which page are we on? Well, that's defined by this active class, right? So what we need to do is target the active class. So what I'll do is kind of create another rule right here, and we'll do a dot, or we'll do, let's just say active. Let's see if we can target it this way. And you can see that we're right there already on 2, but I don't want it to be that exact same color. So let's just say we choose something a little bit darker right there. Okay, so now that one is darker, and then the other one can roll over that's lighter. Or you could make it like a green tone. Okay, so we could do something like a green color tone right here. Let's see here. Do something like this. Okay, so now we have like a green color tone there, and then the other ones are blue with a rollover effect. So you can see how I've styled that pretty nicely right there with an active little area also. I could do maybe like a 2-pixel border if I wanted that. I could do no border at all. I could do 0 pixels. And you can see now I have these kinds of things. I could also tone down the radius to maybe just 2. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and darken this background up a little bit so you can see just kind of what it looks like. But you can see how right there we've created our pagination CSS code with a little bit of a nice rollover effect. And if I zoom out 100%, you can see that's what it looks like. If I need it a little bit taller, I could just bump the padding up right here. So I could do 10 pixels here and let's say 18, 19 pixels there. So you can see you could really play with this just depending on what you want. If I want, 9 pixels on the radius, if I want, let's say, if I want circles kind of, you could do that as well. But remember, once you get into the numbers of like 15, 25, 105, the circles typically won't work as well. And you also have to keep in mind with the padding. So sometimes you have to play with this to get it to the appropriate proportions, right? But you can see how I can create circles as well fairly easily right there. Anyways, there you go. That's your example. Thanks for sticking around, and I hope you found this lesson helpful. Now, there's one thing that you can do for yourself, and that is to subscribe to my newsletter list. Because when you're on my newsletter list, that's where I share all the exclusive training material. It's with my newsletter members from the live web